I can't believe I'm doing this, I muttered, clutching the small velvet box in my sweaty hand. My heart was pounding so loud it almost drowned out the noise of the student hall. Marcus grinned. "You've been planning this for weeks, man. Just go for it." It's easy for him to say. He wasn't about to confess to the Ice Queen herself, Lila Frost. I stepped forward. The crowd went quiet. Lila stood near the stairs, her arms folded, face unreadable. "Lila," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I've loved you since the first day we met. You make me want to be better, and I—" She raised a hand. "Ethan, stop." The silence that followed hurt more than any slap could. Her lips curved into a thin smile. "You're sweet, but let's be honest. Did you really think this was love?" A few people laughed. My stomach twisted. I thought you felt the same. She said softly, almost pitying. "Ethan, you were just a project. A challenge. Someone I helped because you looked lost." My throat tightened. "A project? Come on," she said, her tone sharp. "You don't seriously think I'd date you for real? Look at us. We don't even belong in the same world." The laughter grew louder. I heard someone whisper, "Poor guy." Marcus started to step in, but I shook my head. "No. Let her finish." She tilted her head. "I just didn't expect you to take it this far. This public scene, it's embarrassing." I felt every word slice into me like glass. "So, that's it? 2 years meant nothing?" "It meant growth," she said coldly. "For me, at least." The box slipped from my fingers and hit the floor with a dull thud. The small ring inside bounced once, shining under the light before rolling away. Someone chuckled. "Guess the Ice Queen strikes again." My vision blurred. The walls felt like they were closing in. "You could have just told me privately," I whispered. She shrugged. "You chose the stage, Ethan, not me." I turned away before she could see the tears in my eyes. Every step felt heavy, like I was walking through snow. Marcus caught up outside. "Hey man, don't," I said, voice breaking. "Just don't," he sighed. "She's cruel, but this doesn't define you." I didn't answer. I just kept walking. The air outside was cold, sharp, biting. When I got home, I stared at the mirror. My face looked pale, eyes red. "You're pathetic," I muttered to my reflection. "You let her own you." The silence in my room was deafening. I opened my phone, hundreds of messages, half pity, half gossip. I threw it aside. Hours passed. I couldn't sleep. Her words replayed over and over. "You were just a project." I laughed bitterly. Guess I learned my lesson. Around midnight, I went to the balcony. The city lights looked distant, blurred by tears I refused to shed. I thought about everything, how I believed she cared, how I wanted to build a future with her. Foolish dreams. "Love makes people weak," I whispered, "and weakness gets you crushed." I opened my hand, imagining the ring still there. Empty now, meaningless. A gust of wind hit my face. It felt good, cold, honest. That's when I made my promise. No more begging. No more trusting the wrong people. No more Lila Frost. I didn't know what kind of man I'd become after this, but I knew one thing for sure. Something inside me had died tonight. And maybe that was exactly what needed to happen. Asterisk, dude. "Deed!" "You've got to get out of bed," Marcus said, yanking open my curtains. Sunlight stabbed my eyes. "Close it," I groaned, pulling the blanket over my face. "It's been 2 weeks. Ethan, you haven't gone to class. You haven't eaten properly. And your room smells like a grave." "Perfect," I muttered. "That matches how I feel." He sighed. "You can't let her win. She already did." But I sat up slowly. "Lila Frost destroyed me, remember?" Marcus crossed his arms. "No, she humiliated you. There's a difference. What happens next decides if she destroys you." I stared at the wall covered with photos, Lila laughing, me smiling beside her. They felt like someone else's memories now. "You think I can just move on?" "I think you can either stay her victim or become her nightmare," he said. The words hit hard. "That's dramatic even for you," he smirked. "Maybe, but it's true." After he left, I sat in silence, replaying everything. Her voice still echoed in my head. You were just a project. Every time I blinked, I saw her cold smile. Days blurred together. Rumors spread fast. People whispered behind my back when I walked through campus. That's the guy who got dumped in front of everyone, they'd say. I heard it enough times that it stopped hurting it. Just became noise. By the third week, even the noise faded. My so-called friends stopped calling. Nobody wanted to stand next to failure. Only Marcus kept showing up, dragging me to eat, forcing me to talk. One night he said, "You know, she's with Victor Hale now, right?" My jaw clenched. Yeah, I saw the pictures online. She moves fast. She always did. I tried to sound indifferent, but my voice cracked. Marcus leaned back. You don't have to forget her, but don't let her story be the only one people remember. After he left, I stared at the empty room. The walls looked bare except for the photographs I hadn't touched. Her handwriting was still on my desk, tiny notes she'd left me once. Things like, "Don't skip breakfast, idiot." I picked one up and laughed bitterly. "Guess you don't care if I starve now?" That laughter turned into something else, rage. A deep, shaking fury that came from somewhere I didn't know existed. I gathered every photo, every note, every memory I could find. I threw them into a metal bowl on the floor. My hands trembled as I lit the match. The flame flickered, small and almost shy at first, then roared as it found the paper. Her face curled and blackened. The smoke rose fast, filling my lungs with something that burned but felt right. "Goodbye, Lila," I whispered. "Goodbye to everything you made me believe." The fire crackled like it agreed. The ashes turned gray, drifting in the air like tiny ghosts of who I used to be. I stared until the last ember died, until there was nothing left but silence and soot. My chest hurt, but it wasn't the same pain as before. It was sharper, cleaner. For the first time in weeks, I felt awake. I walked to the mirror. My reflection looked hollow, but alive. "You're still here," I told myself. "Barely, but you're here." The smell of smoke clung to my skin. I didn't wash it off. I wanted it there, a reminder. I opened the window. The cold air rushed in, carrying the ashes away. "Never again," I said quietly. "Never again will I let anyone break me like that." The wind scattered the ashes into the night. That's when I realized the old Ethan Vale was gone, and whatever replaced him wouldn't be weak. 6 months, I whispered to my reflection. The man staring back looked nothing like the wreck I used to Beekling cut suit. Steady eyes and a calm smile that felt more like armor than expression. Marcus whistled from the door. "Look at you, corporate prince. You ready for day one at Frost Tech?" I straightened my tie. "I've been ready since the night I burned everything." He raised a brow. "You sure you want to work there? You know who owns it?" "Exactly why I'm going," I said. "Irony is a great motivator." He smirked. "Don't do anything stupid." "Don't worry," I said. "Stupid Ethan's dead." The Frostech building towered over me like a glass fortress. Every step inside felt like walking back into a memory I'd promised to bury. The receptionist smiled. "You must be Ethan Vale. Welcome aboard." "Thanks," I said. My voice sounded calm, controlled. I'd practiced that tone. They introduced me to my department bright screens, busy chatter, and the faint hum of ambition. That's when I met her. "Hey, new guy," a cheerful voice said. "I'm Claire Dawson. I'll be showing you around." I turned. Warm eyes, soft smile. The opposite of everything I remembered about Lila. "Ethan," I said, shaking her hand. "Thanks for helping me survive my first day," she laughed. "Don't worry. I don't bite. But our manager might." I smiled. I've faced worse. As she explained the system, I caught her studying me. "You look calm," she said. "To calm for a first day. Guess I'm good at pretending." Her tone softened. "Pretending's not always bad. Sometimes it's survival." I froze for a second, surprised by how easily she saw through me. "You read people well." She shrugged. "Comes with being human." I wished I could tell her that part of me didn't feel human anymore, but I just smiled. Good skill to have here. By afternoon, whispers spread through the office someone important was visiting. When I heard her name, my heart stopped. Lila Frost. The footsteps. The perfume. The sound of her voice. It all hit like a storm I thought I'd escaped. I turned just as she walked in, her confidence slicing through the room like a blade. She didn't notice me at first. Why would she? To her, I was just another face in a crowd she used to look down on. "Morning, Miss Frost," Claire greeted. Lila nodded politely. "Carry on, everyone." Then her eyes landed on me. It took her 3 seconds. 3 seconds for confusion to turn into shock. Her hand froze midair. "Ethan," I smiled. "Good to see you, Miss Frost." The formal tone made her blink. She tried to recover, but her voice cracked slightly. "I didn't know you worked here? Just started?" I said casually. "Lucky coincidence." Her eyes flickered, searching for the man she'd humiliated. "She didn't find him, well," she said, forcing a smile. "Welcome to Frostech." "Thank you," I replied smoothly. "I've always admired the company's cold efficiency." Her expression faltered. "Excuse me?" "Nothing," I said with a polite grin. "Just talking about the air conditioning." Claire shot me a puzzled look. Lila turned away, her composure cracking for just a second before she walked off. When she was gone, Claire whispered, "You two know each other?" "You could say that," I said quietly. "Old history." She nodded slowly, sensing there was more I wouldn't say. As the day ended, I stood by the window, watching the sunset reflect off Frostech's glass walls. My reflection stared back, calm and unreadable. Inside, something cold stirred again, not pain this time, but purpose. She recognized me, I whispered. Good, because now she'd know exactly who was standing in her father's empire, and this time, I wasn't the one trembling. Morning. "Ethan," Claire said, as I walked into the office. "Morning," I replied, setting my files on the desk. "Big meeting today?" She nodded. "Lila's been snapping at everyone since dawn." "Something's off." "Maybe the weather," I said. Though I already knew it wasn't. Lila had been unraveling for weak-stainy cracks in the perfect wall she'd built. I kept my distance, polite but detached, always addressing her as Miss Frost. It bothered her. I could see it in her clenched jaw every time I spoke. She approached me that morning, heels clicking like warnings. "Mr. Vale, I need the projections from last quarter."
Oh.
"They're in your inbox," I said, glancing up. "I sent them an hour ago." Her eyes narrowed. "Next time, let me know personally." "Of course," I said evenly. "Wouldn't want to inconvenience you." Her lips tightened. "Watch your tone." I smiled faintly. "Always." She walked away, but not before I caught the faint tremor in her hand. Claire leaned toward me. "You enjoy pushing her buttons, don't you?" "Not enjoy," I said quietly. "Just observe," right, she said, rolling her eyes. "Observe like a cat watching a bird." By lunchtime, whispers had spread like wildfire. Lila and Victor were fighting again, this time in the parking lot. I pretended not to care, but curiosity pulled me outside. "I told you to stay out of my phone." Lila's voice cracked. Victor scoffed. "Maybe if you trusted me, trusted you?" She snapped. "You're sleeping with your assistant?" Gasps echoed from the staff nearby. I stood far enough to blend in, but close enough to catch every word. Victor's tone turned mocking. "You think you're untouchable because your daddy runs the company? You're nothing without him." The slap echoed loud and sharp. Then he laughed, walking away. For a moment, Lila just stood there rigid, cold, pretending she didn't care. But her eyes. They looked hollow to karma, I thought. The world was simply returning the favor. Still, when she turned and saw me watching, something twisted in my chest. I didn't smile. I just nodded and walked back inside. That afternoon, Dean Frost summoned me to his office. His presence always felt heavy, commanding. "Ethan," he said, gesturing for me to sit. "Your performance has been impressive. I want you to handle the Benson proposal personally." I blinked. "That's Lila's project." He waved it off. "She's distracted lately." "You're efficient." "I need results, not drama." I hesitated. Won't that cause tension? He gave a dry laugh. In business, tension is normal. Emotion isn't. Don't let feelings cloud judgment, Mr. Vale. Understood, I said, even as irony clawed at me. As I left his office, I passed Lila standing by the doorway, eyes wide. She'd heard everything. Congratulations, she said tightly. My father clearly thinks highly of you. Just do my job, I replied. Her voice dropped. You enjoy this, don't you? What exactly? Watching me fall apart. I met her gaze. I don't watch. I work. Her eyes glistened for a second before she turned away. Later that night, Claire found me at my desk. You okay? She asked softly. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like someone trying to convince himself he's not enjoying this. I chuckled faintly. Maybe I am. She folded her arms. Ethan, whatever this thing is between you, twits, toxic. Don't let her turn you into her reflection. Her words hit harder than I expected. I'm not like her. Then prove it. I said nothing. The truth was, part of me liked seeing Lila lose control. It felt like justice. But another part, the part I tried to bury, felt something else. 2 days later, I walked past the conference room and saw her alone, head in her hands. The woman who once laughed while I shattered was now silently breaking. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I froze at the doorway. Her shoulders trembled. She didn't notice me. I whispered to myself, you wanted this. So why did it feel so wrong? I turned away before she looked up, my reflection faint on the glass wall beside her, composed but cracked in ways she'd never see. For the first time, I wasn't sure if I'd won anything at all. It was late when I heard my name. Ethan. Her voice came from the shadows near the stairwell. I turned slowly. Lila stood there, pale under the dim light, arms crossed like she was holding herself together. You shouldn't be here, I said. I needed to talk. I'm busy, please. Tone cracked. Just for a minute, I sighed. Fine. 1 minute. She stepped closer. Do you hate me? I froze. Of all the things she could have said, that wasn't one I expected. I stopped feeling anything for you, I said finally. Her eyes softened. You're lying. I'm not. You used to look at me like I was your whole world. Yeah, I said quietly. And you burned it down. She looked away. I didn't mean to. Don't, I interrupted. You meant every word you said that day. You humiliated me because it made you feel powerful.
Oh.
Her voice trembled. I was stupid. I thought strength meant control. But now, everything's falling apart. I tilted my head. And that's supposed to make me feel sorry for you? She didn't answer. The silence between us stretched, thick with everything we'd never said. Finally, I stepped past her. Good night, Miss Frost? Her whisper followed me. I'm sorry, Ethan. But I didn't look back. I couldn't. The next morning, Marcus dropped a folder on my desk. Got something for you? I opened it. Financial reports, digital records, transfer logs numbers that didn't add up. Victor, he nodded. Your favorite corporate prince has been skimming millions from Frostech's overseas accounts. That's a big accusation. It's not an accusation if we can prove it. I leaned back. And you're sure? Naomi double-checked the data herself, he said. She's confident. We can bring this to Dean Frost directly. Naomi was Marcus's older sister, sharp lawyer with a calm, lethal smile. She arrived later that afternoon, briefcase in hand. You're Ethan Vale, she said, shaking my hand. Marcus told me you're not afraid to play with fire. I just don't like pretending the ice doesn't burn, she smirked. Good. Because once this goes public, things will get hot fast. We spent the night combing through evidence, tracing every dollar. By dawn, we had enough to expose Victor without stepping outside the law. When the news broke 2 days later, the entire building went silent. Headlines flashed across screens. Victor Hale arrested for corporate fraud. Employees whispered. Phones buzzed nonstop. Dean Frost stormed through the halls like a hurricane. I watched from my desk, calm as glass. He burst into Leela's office, slamming the door behind him. His voice roared through the walls. You were supposed to manage this department. How could you let this happen? I didn't know, didn't know? He snapped. You defended him. You vouched for him? Her voice cracked. He fooled me too. Foolishness is weakness, he said coldly. And weakness has no place in my company. The door flew open moments later. Lila came out, pale, shaking, holding a single box of her things. Our eyes met. She stopped, searching my face for something: pity, forgiveness, anything. I gave her nothing. She swallowed hard. You knew, didn't you? I stood slowly. I did? And you didn't warn me? I shook my head. You didn't warn me either, remember? Her breath hitched. So this is revenge. No, I said quietly. This is balance. She looked like she wanted to scream, but the words never came. Instead, she just turned and walked toward the elevators. As the doors closed, I caught my reflection in the glass beside hers, her tear-streaked face, my calm stare. Once she'd watched me fall. Now I was watching her. Marcus appeared beside me. You did it. I didn't do anything, I said. The truth did. He studied me. You don't look happy. I'm not. He frowned. Then why does it feel like you won? I didn't answer. When Leela's elevator reached the ground floor, I turned away and gathered my papers. No victory speech. No satisfaction. Just silence as I walked out that night. The city lights glowed coldly against the glass towers around me. I remembered the boy who once begged for love and the man who no longer had to. She'd built her world on ice. All I did was light a match. Asterisk. I thought you'd be celebrating, Marcus said. Leaning against my desk. I'm not really in the mood, I replied. She lost everything. Victor's in jail. Her father's furious. And your Frostech's rising star. What's left to do but toast to poetic justice? I forced a smile. Poetry doesn't sound like victory anymore. He frowned. You're kidding me? After everything she did? I know what she did, I said, sharper than I meant. I just thought it would feel different. Marcus sighed. You can't save someone who froze you out, man. I'm not trying to save her, I said, though the words tasted like a lie. I'm trying to understand why I still feel. Heavy, he clapped my shoulder. Because you still care, whether you admit it or not. I didn't answer. Later that evening, Claire found me sitting alone in the break room, staring at a cup of untouched coffee. Rough day? She asked, taking the seat across from me. You could say that. She studied me quietly. You've been walking around like a ghost lately. Ever since Lila left. I laughed bitterly. Shouldn't I be happy? I got what I wanted. Did you? I met her eyes. She deserved it, maybe. Claire said softly. But so did you deserve peace. Is this who you wanted to become? Her words hit harder than she knew. I couldn't even look at her. I don't know anymore, I whispered. She reached out, touching my hand gently. You can stop fighting ghosts. Ethan, you already won. Winning doesn't feel like this, I said. Then maybe it wasn't the right fight. The silence that followed felt heavier than anything I'd said all night. On my way home, I found myself walking instead of driving. The cold air bit at my skin, but I didn't mind. Each step echoed against the pavement, reminding me I was still here, still breathing. Still haunted. Memories came uninvited. Her laugh in the library. The way she'd steal my fries at midnight diners. The way she whispered my name like it meant something. Back then, her smile warmed me. Now, it burned. Maybe she was broken before I ever touched her heart. Maybe I just didn't see the cracks. Maybe that's why. I keep trying to understand Herbie, because a part of me knows that version of her. The one who smiled like spring was real once. And maybe that's the part I never stopped loving. The next day, I drove to my sister's apartment. Rachel opened the door, arms already outstretched. Wow, she said, pulling me into a hug. You look exhausted. I laughed softly. You always say that, because it's always true. She stepped back and studied me. Sit, I'll make tea. You can tell me why you look like you've been hit by an emotional truck? I sank into the couch. It's just things at work. With Leela. Her eyebrow rose. The Leela. The one who... Yeah, that one. Rachel handed me a mug and sat across from me. What happened this time? She lost everything. And I was the reason it happened. So you got your revenge? I did. And now? I looked down. Now, I feel like I lost something too. Rachel's voice softened. Maybe you did. Maybe holding on to anger cost you more than she ever did. She ruined me, Rach. I know, she said. But forgiveness isn't for hurts for you. You don't have to forget. Just let go. I shook my head. It's not that simple. It never is, she said. But you can't keep dragging her ghost behind you. It's time to rest, Ethan. Her words lingered long after I left. That night, I dreamed of the day she broke me. The crowd was there, the laughter, her icy smile. But this time, when she said those words, when she called me her charity project, I didn't crumble. I just looked at her, smiled, and walked away. No anger, no pain. Just quiet. When I woke up, the sun was rising through the blinds, soft and warm against my face. For the first time in years, I didn't feel cold. The bell above the cafe door chimed as I stepped inside. I hadn't meant to end up there. It was raining, I needed coffee. Fate, such a thing still existed, had a cruel sense of humor. Welcome, a soft voice began, then stopped. I looked up. Leela Frost stood behind the counter. For a moment, time froze. She looked different, smaller somehow. The sharp lines of her face had softened, her hair tied messily. No designer suit, no arrogance in her posture. Just quiet. Ethan, she whispered. I didn't answer. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. I just looked at her, calm and still. She swallowed hard. You can sit. I'll bring your order. I didn't order anything, I said. Her lips trembled. Then, maybe you should. I took a seat by the window. The rain streaked the glass, each drop carrying a strange calm. She brought a mug of coffee a few minutes later, setting it down without meeting my eyes. Still black, she murmured. You never liked sugar. I stared at the cup. You remember that? She nodded, fidgeting with her apron. I remember a lot of things I wish I could forget. I looked at her properly, then thin wrists, tired eyes, no trace of the queen who once ruled over everyone around her. So, I said quietly, how long have you been working here? 3 months, her voice cracked. After everything fell apart, no one wanted to hire me. My father cut me off. Victor, well, you know what happened to him? She gave a small, sad smile. You must be happy. I thought I would be, I said. But I'm not. She took a deep breath, then whispered, Ethan. I was stupid. I thought power meant everything. I thought if I could control people, I'd never feel small again. But I lost myself. I hurt you because I couldn't face how empty I was inside. Her voice shook, and for a moment, she wasn't the Ice Queen anymore. She was just a girl trying to find her way out of the cold. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said. I just needed to say it to say I'm sorry. Stared at the rain outside. My reflection wavered in the glass. Older now, quieter. You once told me love makes people weak. She winced. I was wrong. Yes, I said softly. You were. The silence stretched between us, heavy but not painful. I thought of Marcus's laughter, Claire's gentle voice, Rachel's words about forgiveness. They'd carried me here to this moment. For a long time, I said, I hated you. Every morning I woke up thinking about how to make you pay. And when I finally did, it felt empty, like I'd only burned myself. Her eyes filled with tears. You did it right, though. You never crossed the line. You stayed better than me. I don't know about better, I said. Just different. She bit her lip. So, what now? I looked at her really-looked hand, realized the anger was gone. There was no thrill in her downfall, no satisfaction in seeing her small. Just peace. I forgive you, I said quietly. Her breath hitched. You do? Yes, I said, but I can't forget. That's fair. The tears finally spilled down her cheeks, and I didn't flinch. I just stood up, finishing the last sip of my coffee. As I turned to leave, she whispered, "Thank you. For not becoming like me?" I paused at the door, feeling the rain's cool breath against my skin. "Maybe once I almost did," I said, "but not anymore." Outside, the rain had eased. The clouds were breaking, and for the first time in years, I felt light. "Asterisk coffee again?" Claire asked, smiling as she set down 2 mugs. "Habit," I said, taking one. "Some things never change." She sat across from me, chin resting on her hand. "You've changed, though. You don't look like a man chasing ghosts anymore." "Maybe because I stopped running," I said. "Or maybe I just got tired," Claire chuckled. "Tired looks good on you." I smiled faintly. "That's not something I ever thought I'd hear." She tilted her head. "You used to hide behind your walls, Ethan. Now you just exist peacefully." "Peace," I repeated quietly. "Yeah, it feels strange." Her eyes softened. "You earned it." We sat in comfortable silence, the sound of the city faint in the distance. No tension. No haunting memories clawing at me from behind. Just warmth. A week later, I visited Professor Alden on campus. He was older now, his office filled with the same smell of ink and dust. "Ethan Vale," he greeted with a grin. "You disappeared for a while." "Had to," I said. "Too many ghosts here." He poured tea for us both. "And now, I came to thank you. For your words. You once told me that pain is a teacher." He chuckled. "And did you listen?" "Eventually," I said. "It took a few scars to make sense of it." He leaned back, studying me. "You look colder." I laughed softly. "I've heard that before." He nodded. "The coldest hearts often hide the warmest pain." The words hit deeper than I expected. "I think I finally understand what that means." He raised an eyebrow. "Do tell." "I thought revenge would heal me," I said. "But it didn't. It just reminded me how much I'd let someone else control who I became. The moment I forgave her, I stopped fighting, her ghost and started finding myself." Professor Alden smiled faintly. "So it was never about her?" "No," I said. "It was about me. About proving I could rise without hate holding me down." He nodded slowly. "Then you've learned what most never do. You've found balance." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I just learned how to breathe again." We talked for another hour about books, life, and the strange beauty of starting over. When I left his office, the world outside felt lighter. That evening, I drove to the coast. The wind was sharp, the sky endless. The ocean roared like it was alive, wild and unbothered. I stood at the edge. Shoes sinking into wet sand, the cold biting my face. For a while, I said nothing. The sound of waves crashing was enough. Then I whispered, "You did it, Ethan." It wasn't pride I felt, just peace. A quiet, earned peace. I thought of Leela, of Marcus, of Claire, of every piece of me I'd broken and rebuilt. I was rejected by the Ice Queen. I said softly, watching the horizon blur into gray. But in the end, I became colder and smarter. The wind tore at my voice, carrying it away. Not for revenge, I finished, but to survive. I closed my eyes, letting the chill sink into my skin. It didn't hurt anymore. It felt clean. Behind me, the world kept moving. Cars' laughter. New beginnings waiting somewhere I couldn't see. Ahead, the ocean stretched forever, calm and cold. Just like the part of me that finally understood what it meant to let go. For the first time, I didn't look back, just forward. The waves whispered softly against the shore, fading into silence. And in that silence, I was finally free.